Don't be alarmed. I'm about to play the audio from a TikTok, which this episode of The Edward Show is about. Here we go.
We made an artificial intelligence that tells you why you should eat a diet of only butter. We don't actually recommend eating only butter, but we made this artificial intelligence called bestreasonswhy.com, and it gives you reasonable reasons to do literally anything. Literally anything you can think of, it'll tell you why. Live now, bestreasonswhy.com.
That was the audio from a TikTok I made that got 67,000 views, which resulted in 3,100 users to an AI experiment that a co-founder and I made months ago. It's a crazy conversion rate. 67,000 views, resulting in 3,100 users. This was in February or March. I was still living in Warsaw at the time. My co-founder, I remember that. He was living in Warsaw too. I met him while living in Kiev. He's from Munich. It's my co-founder for Commit Club. We went to a cafe, one of my favorite cafes in Warsaw, and we were talking and hanging out. And then we went to hang out back at my place and we were playing around with the ChatGPT playground, with the OpenAI GPT playground. We're like, this is very important tech. We should F around with this. We should use this just to see what it's about, so we're not left behind. And so we made this experiment. The experiment is called bestreasonswhy.com, which you just heard about. And like I said in that TikTok, it gives reasonable reasons to do literally anything. And when we made it, there was no moderation on it, like no moderation. People write in the craziest things. And so we put it up, and I made 3 videos in 75 minutes. This is actually, I have a story about this, another story about this, going out on my newsletter tomorrow, edwardsturm.com/newsletter. And that newsletter has a different takeaway from the story. This takeaway in this episode 101 of The Edward Show, the takeaway in this episode is how important spin is. Because I made 3 videos to promote this AI experiment. I made 3 videos within 75 minutes. And I've told the story a few times, but I never really went deep. And like I said, video 1, TikTok number 1, 2,000 views. TikTok number 3, also 2,000 views. TikTok number 2, 67,000 views, which results in 3,100 users. And so I'm going to talk about how important spin is, because the spin on videos 1 and 3 wasn't good enough, but it was about the same thing. But the spin on video 2 was unique and absurd enough. The one that you just listened to was unique and absurd enough that it made the video pop off. Before I do that, I'll talk a little bit more about why the video popped off. Then I'm going to give the hooks from videos 1 and 3. So yeah, video 2, absurd hook. We made an artificial intelligence that tells you why you should eat a diet of only butter. That's an absurd hook. That is an absurd hook. And so that's why people made it past the first couple of seconds. Here's all the things that I did well with this video. The second line was fast and it flowed. It was funny. The music is fun. The music goes well with what I'm saying. I think that's very important with TikTok. You can't see the camera movement, but I'm moving the camera in and out of my face, which makes it funnier. And there's very clear and striking visuals, which again, you can't see, because I'm showing bestreasonswhy.com and butter on my laptop. And the contrast between the laptop and the background is dramatic because the background is dark and the laptop is bright. And it looks very crisp. It looks very clear. Also, the video is short, 20 seconds. It's a 20-second audio clip that I played at the beginning of this podcast. And the URL, bestreasonswhy.com, is memorable. The concept for the AI, that's novel. It's a novel concept, giving you an AI that will tell you why you should eat a diet of only butter. That's very novel. And like I said, it's all about spin. Now I want to tell you the hooks for videos 1 and 3. You know what? I'm just going to play them right here. So this is the hook for video 1.
We made an AI that gives you 3 reasons why you should get a kitty cat.
And this is the hook for video 3.
This artificial intelligence gives you reasons for why you should make AI president of the United States.
And now I'm going to play the hook again for video 2, which was the winner.
We made an artificial intelligence that tells you why you should eat a diet of only butter.
The hook for the video that won was superior. It was more absurd and funnier than the rest of the hooks. And I came up with it on the spot, just effing around. So now you're thinking, Edward, this is all fine and good, but how can I do this myself? And I'm going to tell you, because I don't think I really did anything special. I basically, my strategy with TikTok, and again, I think it's worth it. I think getting 3,100 users in a day, that's pretty crazy. Here's my strategy. My strategy is F around and find out. For real, that's it. I just said I'm just gonna make a bunch of videos. One of them will do well, and that will be meaningful for the project. I literally made 3 videos in 75 minutes. In 75 minutes, and it was video 2 that did well. Let me tell you the other crazy thing. Videos 1 and 3, barely anybody saw them because they didn't perform well. I love that about TikTok. You don't have much to lose except time. And like I said, it doesn't require that much time. Also, I had another realization along the lines of how people don't see your failures, they just see your hits. So, because if your video isn't good, the algorithm isn't going to push it out. So people just see your hits. The more hits you have, the longer. This is why I talk about consistency. TikTok is a good example. The more hits you have, the more you get identified with quality. People don't see the failures, they only see the hits. Most people just see from you hit after hit after hit after hit. They don't see the failures unless they go and look at your specific feed. You can go hide those if you want. I don't even hide them, but you could hide those if you want. Now let's compare this to something like Instagram Reels. People see everything on Instagram Reels. Instagram Reels, it's much less of a meritocracy. It's much more community oriented. When you put out a reel and you put it to your feed is going to see it. If you don't put it to your feed, it'll only be shown on the explore page. So it can be discovered that way, but your feed won't see it. But when reels or images go out onto your feed on Instagram, a lot of your followers will see it. So if you put out bad content, if you're experimenting with different styles on Instagram and you put out bad content, you have a much higher chance of having people unfollow you and say and not associate you with quality versus TikTok, which is a pure meritocracy in terms of what gets shown. So the longer you keep at it on TikTok, the longer someone is like, oh, I've seen this person make hit after hit after hit. I like this person. They look into what you're about. Then they check out whatever you're promoting and then they convert. I think that's really cool. And then they love you for it. And their bond with you only grows as you continue and you make hit after hit after hit. Then you can convert them into even more things. That's the long term. But like I said, in the short term, you can have a unique spin on something and go very viral. Remember, I made 3 videos all about the same app, and only one of the 3 yielded substantial traffic to the app. Spin is everything. Spin is everything. Spin is so important. Everybody has an interesting story to tell. They just need to find the spin for it. I believe that to my core. To my core. Everybody has an interesting story to tell. They just need to find the right spin for it. This is episode 101 of The Edward Show. It's a rainy day in NYC, but my place is bright and warm and happy and positive. Thank you so much for listening. I hope everybody will F around and find out, and I will talk to all of you again tomorrow. Bye now.